The conversion of rainforests to palm oil industries is an extremely controversial issue. Malaysia is deforesting ancient rainforests in exchange for palm oil plantations in order to keep up with the demands for palm oil globally and nationally, as well as provide electricity using renewable biomass energy from the palm oil plantations. I am going to give you various varying perspectives using my research to back up my claims and opinions. Personally, my perspective is that since Malaysia has been urbanizing quite rapidly, with the urbanization growing from 34.2% in the 1980 and reaching 61.8% in the 2000, as shown in the document submitted to the United Nations from Malaysia, they should focus on not only getting profit from palm oil, but also preserving important landmarks, particularly ancient rainforests, as it can't be grown easily. This will affect the tourism industry because a high percentage of tourists come to Malaysia to enjoy the natural sceneries. Furthermore, Malaysia claims to import certified sustainable palm oil (CSPO) when deforesting more rainforests for palm oil plantations is not sustainable at all. Even though the agricultural and industrial sector occupies a large amount of the GDP according to the CIA World Factbook, Malaysia's services occupies 48% of the GDP, and one of the most contributing factors to the services is tourism. Malaysia's goal to reach 85% urbanization by 2050, according to documents submitted to the UN. Since services contributes a more dominant amount to Malaysia's GDP, Malaysia should focus more on ecotourism and normal tourism, by preserving important landmarks and creating new ones in order to attract more tourists, since quite a significant amount of the GDP is contributed through tourism. Malaysia would then also be able to reach their goal through an eco-friendly way. That is my perspective. However, Malaysia's perspective of the issue will be vastly different, considering the amount of money the industrial and agricultural sectors are contributing to the GDP. According to the CIA World Factbook, the agricultural sector occupies 12% of the GDP, whilst the industrial sector occupies 40% of the overall GDP per capita. Quite a significant part of the agricultural and industrial sector is from rubber and palm oil plantations, with the processing and manufacturing of palm oil and rubber contributing a significant amount to the industrial sector, while harvesting palm oil and rubber contributing a significant amount to the agricultural sector. Also, the Star newspaper published that the Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil (RSPO) foresees that the total global sustainable palm oil consumption to double this year, which will mean that deforesting rainforests for plantations and industries will make processing palm oil more efficient, which in return will meet the rising demand of palm oil and contribute more to the overall GDP per capita. The Secretary General of RSPO also said that the production of the certified sustainable palm oil, also known as green palm oil, has grown to 11% from the 5 million tons of global crude palm oil output last year. Producing more palm oil will also strengthen Malaysia's relationship with the trade and/or exporting partners, namely China, Singapore, Japan, and the United States, as recorded by the CIA World Factbook, which will also help Malaysia in terms of trading and global recognition. In the United Nations Development Programme (UNDP) publication, Malaysia has announced a program in which they will use biomass energy from palm oil plantations to provide electricity. In order to sell more palm oils and simultaneously provide more electricity in Malaysia, Malaysia thinks that deforesting ancient rainforests is worthwhile. In the document submitted to the UN from Malaysia, it states that Malaysia would like to reach 85% urbanization by 2050. In order to do that, Malaysia will need to gain more profit and grow in terms of global recognition. Creating more industries and palm oil plantation will also create more jobs for immigrants and locals alike. Since Malaysia is also contributing 48% share to the palm oil market. According to a publication by the Economic Times, they'll have to keep their standards high and not lose to the competition, Indonesia, who's contributing 40% share. Malaysia acknowledged through historical evidences that one of the main contributing factors of Malaysia's rapid urbanization is industrialization, and in order to achieve their goal of 85% urbanization by 2050, they will need to expand their industries to meet global demands and strengthen their partnerships with countries through trading and exporting to gain more global recognition as well. The world's perspective will vary as different people, organizations, and governments will have different opinions on the issue. Nevertheless, all these opinions will impact Malaysia in terms of global recognition, economy, and trading. Governments, particularly those that are in a good relationship with Malaysia, as stated before, and powerful businessmen will see this as an opportunity and will want more timber and palm oil, whereas others will want Malaysia to preserve the ancient rainforest from crumbling into ruins. The impact of deforesting rainforests will not only affect the tourism industry, but will also affect the wildlife in Malaysia. Endangered plants and animals such as the Rafflesia and tapir will be greatly affected and will bring them closer to the brink of extinction. Environmental organizations such as the Worldwide Fund for Nature, WWF, who has 5 million supporters worldwide, deriving 17% of their funding from government sources such as the World Bank, Department for International Development, and the United States Agency for International Development, and 11% of funding from corporations, have criticized Malaysia for converting rainforests into palm oil plantations. In an article by the WWF, it said that Princeton University and Swiss Federal Institute of Technology estimated that between 1990 and 2005, 55 to 60% of all palm expansion in Malaysia and Indonesia occurred at the expense of virgin forests. The article also said that a report published in 2007 by the United Nations Environment Programme, UNEP, acknowledges that oil palm plantations are now the leading cause of rainforest destruction in these two countries. Because of the statistics, facts, and the many supporters of the environmental organizations, quite a significant amount of the world's population will be against Malaysia's motive of deforesting rainforests, whilst governments and powerful businessmen will gain profit from it. There are various future scenarios and solutions, but these are the ones that I feel are realistic and possible to implement. Let's start off with the future scenarios. Firstly, the rate of tourists will decline slightly, which will affect the overall economy, but the trading and exporting of palm oil and other natural resources will fix the economy and quite possibly strengthen it even more. Secondly, Malaysia will continue to build strong relationships with the trade partners, which in return will grant Malaysia more global recognition. Thirdly, Malaysia will reach a goal of 85% urbanization by 2050, even if it means deforesting the ancient rainforests. Fourthly, endangered animals and plants will be near extinct because of the destruction of their homes, which in return will lead to the WWF and their supporters criticizing Malaysia if they continue to deforest rainforests. These scenarios are what might happen if Malaysia continues to deforest the rainforest for palm oil plantation. However, that will not happen if the following solution is implemented by Malaysia. Firstly, in order to benefit Malaysia in terms of global recognition and economy, as well as preserve ancient rainforests and wildlife, Malaysia should focus more on eco-tourism and/or sustainable tourism. If Malaysia promotes sustainable tourism, ancient rainforests will not be destroyed and instead be used to earn money sustainably. This is it, I guess. The end. I don't really have much else to say, so I hope you find my research informative and helpful. Thanks for listening.